All right, man, peace. So oftentimes in professional sports, the difference between the team that loses and the team that wins is not so much what happens at the very end of the game, but decisions that are made down the stretch of the game. And what am I talking about? Mr. Victor Oladipo, who's had a breakout season this year for the Indiana Pacers, has incrementally gotten worse and worse as this series has gone along. And in last night's Game 5, he had the opportunity to give his team the lead. He was able to drive to the basket on LeBron James, but when he went up to finish, he went up off the right foot and tried to finish with a right-hand scoop reverse, which obviously to me was going to miss. I believe that his nerves got the better of him, and he tried to switch around and trick LeBron at the last moment, when if he had just stretched out with his left hand, like Russell Westbrook often does when he drives to the left, I think that he would have been able to convert, and he would have been able to more efficiently shield the ball away from LeBron. Well, of course, after the game, Victor is claiming that the shot block was actually a goaltend, which it was. But to me, once again, he was not going to make that layup, and the fact that he was 2 for 15 for the game was much more glaring than that so-called goaltend. But anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in. What the hell LeBron wearing coming into the stadium? He wearing high waters? Let me rewind that back. What the hell is this nigga wearing? We found LeBron James came to the game with some capri pants on and a hoodie. There you go. Keep copying Michael Jordan's pregame ritual. Like Denzel Washington told Ray Allen and He Got Game. Everything you got for me, boy. Everything you got.
LeBron James' ridiculous buzzer beater to beat the Pacers and take a 3-2 series lead is being slightly overshadowed by James's block on Victor Oladipo with seconds left on the clock and the game tied. So here's a part of the official description from the NBA rulebook on what is goaltending. During a field goal attempt, touch a ball after it has touched the backboard below the ring level and while the ball is on its upward flight. Here are Oladipo's thoughts on that play.
Yep, it hit the backboard, then he blocked it. There's replays I guess you guys can see. I guess it's a tough play at the time for him, but it was a goaltend.
It was a goaltend, brother, but at the end of the day, the game was tied. If you made the layup, you would have been up by 2. He hit a 3-pointer to end the game. So don't worry about the goaltend. Worry about why you were 2 for 15. Worry about the adjustments that you need to make against J.R. Smith for Game 6. That's what you need to worry about.
I mean, it's hard to even speak on it. It just sucks, honestly.
For more on this, let's get it back to First Take.
All right, you heard Victor Oladipo. He says it was a goaltend. Stephen A., you can...
What's up with Molly Karam going from segment to segment, putting on glasses, taking off glasses? What the hell's going on with her?
You concur?
It was a goaltend. Because it touched the glass first. That didn't decide the game, obviously, because if you remember the play before, there was a turnover that LeBron suffered from that he should not have. The ball was batted out of his hand. It touched the baseline, and then the cop popped back up and then touched it before going out of bounds. And the referees did review that play. That should have been Cleveland's ball, but it was a turnover.
And that layup was not going to go into the basket. That did not cost them the game. I mean, even if we want to say that strictly by the rules, that was a goaltend, which it was. Right after that, LeBron James hit a 3 to win the game. I mean, look, it is what it is. They had their chances to win this game. They had their chances to win Game 4. They lost both of them. They're an up-and-coming young team. They're trying to make their way through their first long playoff run as a unit. These are the type of situations that are going to happen. They're most likely going to lose this series. In my view, they're going to lose Game 6, but we'll see.
And then Oladipo got his shot blocked. And then after that, LeBron James somehow, some way...
Great in-and-out crab dribble with the left hand, though.
He wasn't doubled somehow, some way. Nate McMillan, great coach, done a great job for them. Somehow, some way, didn't schematically arrange things to make sure that LeBron James didn't get the ball in that kind of situation. And so there's a multitude of things that ultimately led to their demise last night. Mainly Victor Oladipo.
Yeah.
Oladipo, Steve, spit it out, brother.
2 for 15 shooting. This is a guy that's a star. And we understand that J.R. Smith can guard. He's their best perimeter defender when he commits to it. And he's been defending Oladipo, so he deserves a lot of credit. But Oladipo, when you are a star in this league, you should never have a 2 for 15 performance. Not with that kind of ability that he has. And so I understand his point, his frustration on that particular play. But you could also look at it this way, Max. It still would have been 2 points. That means you would have lost by 1 instead of...
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Instead of 3, because LeBron James still hit the shot. So again, that didn't dictate the outcome in any way. Period.
Well, maybe it did. It's hard to say. But let's put it this way. LeBron, it was a goaltend. Originally, when we talked about this morning, I didn't think it was a goaltend because I saw it just with the naked eye, and then I watched it again before we came on. It was technically a goaltend.
It's okay. The rest missed it too.
Right. You know what 15 years
He was
of
educated
dominance...
after
You know what 15 years of dominance gets you? At LeBron's level, a call like that.
I agree, and I don't mind that. LeBron James, as Max Kellerman just stated, has been a great player for 15 years. He's done a lot for the NBA. If there's a bang-bang call and it happens to go his way, it's not a big deal. That's part of the growing process when you're a young, up-and-coming star like Victor Oladipo is. You're not going to get that call.
Home, like it happens. And this is the issue, Stephen A. LeBron does get superstar calls.
And he will continue to get superstar calls from the refs to hopefully assist him to getting at least to the Eastern Conference Finals. The NBA wants LeBron James to get to his proverbial Waterloo against the Philadelphia 76ers. And if he wins, okay, cool. We'll get to tie off the LeBron James to Cleveland narrative in the finals when he loses. Or if the Philadelphia 76ers happen to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in the conference finals, then we have the passing of the torch from LeBron to Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. So it works out perfectly for the NBA either way, but LeBron has to win this round and the next round for the NBA narrative to go how they want it to go.
In the NBA, being a superstar has compounding advantages. In other words, you are a superstar because you're a little better even than the stars. Like Oladipo, we were talking about DeRozan yesterday, Stephen A. Mm-hmm. I said not special. I want to reinforce this idea. Everyone playing in the NBA who's under like 6'10" is very special because it's almost not hyperbolic to say everyone on earth who can play in the NBA is playing in the NBA.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I would say up to probably like a 95th percentile. Everyone who can play in the NBA is in the NBA. Now, there's about 5% of guys who just fucked up their own life or who have not made the right decisions or who don't have the work ethic, but who may have had the natural gifts who are not in the NBA. But for the most part, I agree with Kellerman there.
So if you're 6'4", 6'6", something like that, and you're a star, you're amazing. But by NBA standards, Oladipo is a regular all-star. DeRozan is a regular all-star. The compounding advantage of being better than them, being a superstar, is you also get superstar calls. But in the end, and so LeBron got that one. In the end, when you talk about Oladipo, some of this is on him, what's the real reason that we don't like Indiana, even though they're a better team than the Cavs, is because the Cavs got LeBron and Indiana doesn't have a 5-star player. What's the real reason that I'm nervous about my Toronto pick staying with them, but I have to admit I'm looking at Philly, and you
don't have to look at Philly. Philadelphia is the best team in the Eastern Conference. That is why, once again, the NBA really wants the Cleveland Cavaliers to meet the Philadelphia 76ers in the conference finals. Now imagine that. In the Western Conference, you have Golden State against Houston. In the Eastern Conference, you have Cleveland against Philadelphia. If you're the NBA, you cannot ask for anything better than that. And then in Philadelphia, they have the Meek Mill sub-storyline. In Cleveland, they have the Will LeBron James leave storyline. In Houston, they have can James Harden and Chris Paul and Mike D'Antoni get over the hump? And of course, in Golden State, they just keep on trucking. Golden State's going to bring ratings no matter what. They don't even need a subplot. So, as long as the NBA can get to that conference finals, they know that they're good bread.
You've already flipped off onto Philly because they have special players. This is not Oladipo fits in with the DeRozans of the world. There are levels to this, and he is not on that level. It's not a knock against him, but there are levels to this.
I keep trying to tell you, stop trying to speak for me. I know how to speak for myself. That is not the reason I'm going
You
with the
certainly
76ers. I'm looking at their defense and their perimeter shooting.
not Simmons and Embiid?
And not Simmons and Embiid, because Simmons and Embiid alone, to me, wouldn't do it for me. They would not alone do it for me.
One day, Stephen A. Smith is going to smack the hell out of Max Kellerman for mentioning that process shit. Stephen A. Smith has already stated explicitly he's against the process, and he actually has good reasoning for it, because according to him, had the GM of the Philadelphia 76ers been a so-called black man, he would not have been allowed to tank, to purposefully lose for 4 seasons in a row. And he's absolutely correct on that. But the fact of the matter is, they were able to find 2 24-karat gold jewels in Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. There's no doubt about it.
They just wouldn't.
Of course not.
Well, I don't mean literally like 2 on 5 or something. I'm saying even with their abilities, they wouldn't do it for me. What stands out for me with the Philadelphia 76ers is their size, their perimeter shooting, and the fact that they defend.
And beyond that, they're very dogged, very mentally tough, especially Ben Simmons. He was getting submarine. He was getting flagrant fouled. He don't give a shit. He does not let anybody punk him, and he does not let anyone pull him out of his zone, make him lose his composure. Very, very, very mature young brother Ben Simmons is.
I did not see that coming, which is a tribute to Brett Brown. Now, back
What
to
stands
this.
out to me for the 76ers?
What?
Simmons and Embiid.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, no problem. You stick to that, especially while you're roaming around Wells Fargo Center. Here's the point that I'm trying to make to you.
God,
In
you
the
guys
end,
are cute.
what we come down to is this with Cleveland. Yes, they have LeBron James. No, Indiana does not. But if Oladipo ain't 2 for 15, it might not come down to that.
Absolutely. Oladipo has to look at himself in the mirror. Don't worry about the goaltend. Bro, you were 2 for 15, so that tells me 2 things. Number 1, you're pressing. Number 2, your coach is not doing a good enough job. Nate McMillan is not doing a good enough job putting Victor Oladipo in positions offensively to be successful.
Under that. A star. In other words, what I'm saying is this. I'm looking in the camera and I'm looking at Victor Oladipo, who I believe is a big-time baller, a worthy all-star, and a star in this game.
He's a star. He has a ways to go. I think that at max, he could have the possibility of being the second best guard in the Eastern Conference. He's never going to be Kyrie, but if he were to max out his potential, he could be second best.
Victor Oladipo, we've been calling out LeBron James, and he's a 3-time champion who has proven himself over and over again. Victor Oladipo, it is your turn. J.R. Smith put you on lock and key. You are 2 for 15. Yeah, they were doubling Oladipo a lot, getting the ball out of his hands, but you got to figure that out. You got to commiserate with Nate McMillan. You got to figure out a way. Lance Stevenson, his eccentric self, he's got to figure out a way to be some kind of decoy. Do something. Blow in LeBron James' ear again or something. Do what you got to do. But Victor Oladipo.
There's something wrong with Lance Stevenson, really. Like Lance is one of those guys, if he wasn't in the NBA, he'd be on the bus talking to himself. Like, really, that brother needs help.
Well, and Miles Turner's been playing.
Yeah.
So Sabonis has been playing. So guess what? Victor Oladipo, you go back to Indianapolis for Game 6. Handle your business.
Well, you
Step
gotta-
up and make sure you don't have another performance like this. Period.
You got to pass out of double teams and stuff with the extra attention, but the bottom line is this.
So does LeBron.
You have to be able to be the guy when you are the focal point of the...
Agreed. He has to be able to get a bucket when they need it. Now, I understand he's being guarded by LeBron, who can still dig deep and make that big defensive play when he needs it. But Victor has to be that alpha. He has to be that person who can score in clutch situations like that. And he came up small, bottom line.
the opposing team's defense in the playoffs. Some guys can rise above that if they have incredibly strong teams around them. I assume that's the case with DeRozan in Toronto. Indiana, not quite strong enough to overcome the fact that their best player is a 4, not a 5-star player.
You think the East is fun this year? How about next year when Boston's back healthy?
I agree, Molly. That's a good take. And the East has been very fun. I'm tired of the East getting lambasted by a lot of these cats on the internet or these so-called professional sports pundits always talking about how bad the Eastern Conference is. Right now, the Eastern Conference is on the come up.
See? Good
Next year's all Boston. and
Good
Philly.
times.
Boston, Philly next year.
All right, speaking of these.
But anyway, that's it on this video. Hopefully Victor Oladipo can find whatever he's missing for Game 6, because he is going to have to find something. Because to be quite frank with you, his performance has been the difference between the Indiana Pacers resting right now for round 2 as opposed to going to a Game 6 in their place on the verge of elimination. But anyway, peace.